thesis actually means. It means a premise put forward and argued with evidence to substantiate it. So your thesis is not your life's work developed through blood, sweat and tears. Your thesis is not a huge chunk of writing that can be used to wedge open the door. Your thesis is an argument. It's a position. It's your contribution to the knowledge in the field.
I spent so long just wondering. For years I was adrift, directionless and wayward, lost like a swallow on a cliff. But slowly I found purpose and my life became more clear. I found my destination, yeah, but now where do I go from here? 'Cause I'm already there, I'm already everywhere. I'm already there, I'm already everywhere. I've got a wife, 2 kids and a picket fence. Everything was hazy, now it's making sense. Alright, I made it, so now what?
So I think we need to explore what is the difference between thesis as an argument and using argument in your thesis. I think the bottom line is to think about argument as a golden thread that runs throughout your thesis. And that is the thesis of your dissertation or your research, is what is your main finding. And you've got to somehow keep that as a golden thread right throughout the document. And it's a very tricky thing to do. But right at the end, when you finished your research, you should be able to write your thesis statement on the back of a matchbox. So what was your main finding? What did you really discover from doing your research? But of course, you've got this lengthy document, and within that document, you have to construct a number of smaller arguments that build up to a big argument. I think quite a nice way of thinking about it is thinking about a set of Russian dolls and how they grow from little dolls, bigger dolls, but they all fit one within the other so that there's a coherence. So when you are working with your thesis, I think you need to, or writing up your thesis, you need to be thinking all the time, what are the smaller arguments I'm making and how are they building up to form this golden thread of one main argument in your document.
An argument in academic writing doesn't mean a fight in the way that it does in ordinary everyday speech. Rather, it means that you take a position and you make claims to convince your reader that your position is appropriate, reliable, and trustworthy.
Argument in academic writing is about writing that is structured around a claim and then evidence for that claim. So all the way through your thesis, you will be making the claims, but you will have to be backing up your claims with evidence throughout. So where does the evidence come from to support your claims? Well, I think there are a number of sources. One is from the literature. So you could say from an overview of the literature, this is what I see is important in the field. So that would be a claim, and you back it up from the literature. It could also be evidence from your own research. So you've conducted empirical research and you've come up with evidence, and that will also form part of your golden thread, but you have to be able to integrate it with the ideas from the literature. So all the way through your thesis, you are making claims and you are providing evidence for your claims. So they're the smaller ones, and they build up like the Russian doll into one big, beautiful doll that's coherent. Or another metaphor is the idea of a golden thread.
Novice academic writers often just sum up what the literature says, rather than positioning their own study within that literature and drawing on the literature to support the claims that they are making. Remember that your reader can go and read these studies herself, so she doesn't need you to tell her what they say. She needs you to draw on these studies to make a case for your study and to provide the evidence for your claims. The kind of literature that counts as valid for providing evidence for your claims varies a bit from discipline to discipline, so spend some time checking that you are citing studies that are found to be legitimate. Generally speaking, references from peer-reviewed, accredited, and recent journal articles are going to be held in higher regard than references to magazines, online newspapers, or university websites. When providing evidence for your claims from your own data, you will also need to be clear as to what counts as a trustworthy, significant piece of evidence, whether it's in the form of statistical counts or interview quotes. Novice researchers often make the mistake of just describing the data, and they retell what they have collected, rather than analyzing it to reach findings and discussing the implications of those findings for their argument. In conclusion, then, you build a thesis by making lots and lots of smaller and well-substantiated arguments that cumulatively build the main argument. For the reader to follow you in this process, you need to be sure that every link in the chain of argument is supported by credible evidence from prior research or from your own data. So, whether you see your thesis as the development of a chain of reasoning, a golden thread, or a set of matryoshka Russian stacking dolls, happy arguing. This video is licensed under Creative Commons, so you do not need to seek permission to use, share, or adapt it.